The bell is ringing for the Back to School Bash at Capitol Ford in Santa Fe. Don't be late to add up big factory incentives combined with final dealer subtractions on current inventory. Get back to school savings in a new 25 Ford F-150 STX. Buy for $699 a month plus 4.9% APR financing for 72 months. Or a new 25 Ford Bronco Sport. Lease for just $399 a month. It all adds up to a great time to buy during the Back to School Bash at Capitol Ford in Santa Fe. The bell is ringing for the Back to School Bash at Capitol Ford in Santa Fe. Don't be late to add up big factory incentives combined with final dealer subtractions on current inventory. Get back to school savings in a new 25 Ford F-150 STX. Buy for $699 a month plus 4.9% APR financing for 72 months. Or a new 25 Ford Bronco Sport. Lease for just $399 a month. It all adds up to a great time to buy during the Back to School Bash at Capitol Ford in Santa Fe.
Good evening. Happy Monday. We welcome you to another episode of Huddle Up. Huddle Up is a series of segments on the Pit Press Live that feature New Mexico high school football players and coaches. Huddle Up is available on all platforms on the Pit Press. You can find us at the Pit Press. I am Nick Nunez. My co-host is the voice of Western New Mexico athletics, my dad, Ed Nunez. Dad, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, son. Looking forward to talking to our guest for another edition of Huddle Up.
And we're about to get to him real quick, Dad, but it's an exciting time for high school sports in the state of New Mexico. The high school sports season kicks off this week. We've got JV and C-team football games starting as early as today. Cleveland and La Cueva are playing in the metro area. The JV teams, you got high school volleyball starting tomorrow, and then a series of high school football games beginning Thursday on the varsity side. It's an exciting time, Dad.
You know what? It really is, and it's next week I go down to Silver City for the Mustangs' first game of the season, and then volleyball the next week. So you're right, in the metro area, we've got some great football games coming up. I know you're covering a game. I'm covering 2 games. So here we are. I can't believe how quick it came. So, yeah, there's a lot of reason for fall sports to be excited.
Well, while we're on the subject of high school football, our next guest is an all-district quarterback and an all-state punter for the Los Lunas football team. He led the Los Lunas football team in rushing last season with 769 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. He also threw for over 1,000 yards passing and 14 passing touchdowns, and he was named a first-team all-state punter his sophomore season. Kaiden Reese is a 2-sport athlete. He also was named a first-team all-district pitcher in baseball. Kaiden, thank you for joining us on Huddle Up. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you guys for having me.
Doing well. So, Kaiden, we'll start with your upcoming football season, man. Los Lunas last year finished 8-3 in District 2 6A. You return as the starting quarterback for this team, again, rushing for 769 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 1,061 passing yards, 14 passing touchdowns. You guys return 22 seniors to this team. How confident are you about this team coming into the season and its ability to prove that you guys are one of the best teams in 6A football?
Very confident. Very confident in especially this upcoming senior class. The brotherhood is there. This whole senior class has played together since we were 7, so it's definitely there, and I think we can compete this year for sure. We, especially on the defensive end, we got a lot of guys actually who can play. So
tell us a little bit about the returning offensive line, Kaiden. There was a article published last week in the Valencia News Bulletin by Mike Powers titled "The Tigers Bring an Aggressive Attitude." Talked a little bit about some of the offensive line that's coming back. Alex Big A Casas, Nestor Lopez, Miguel Angel Rodriguez, those guys all listed right around 6 feet, over 240 pounds. How important is it to your offense to have a big physical offensive line that returns a lot of guys from last year?
Oh, it's very important because especially since we're a run heavy high school. It's pretty important to have a big line, and they're working. They've been, it's night and day from the intensity from last season to now. So
yeah, man. And, I would certainly describe you as a dual threat quarterback, Kaiden. Your numbers certainly say that. 769 rushing yards, 1,061 passing yards, and 14 passing touchdowns. But what's it like for you? When you take the snap, it seems like it's a read option kind of offense, but kind of just walk us through kind of what your thought process is once you get that snap.
Yes, sir. So my thought process is, just watch and see like if my keys are doing what they need to do in order for me to pull the ball or give it. So that's just really my job and what I'm looking for.
Yeah, for sure. Dad, go ahead.
Cade, I think that, when you mentioned Caden, you mentioned quarterbacks. Now, I've watched Los Lunas for a while. Nick Gerlin, Cade Benavides,
Yes,
Paul Sermons, you. I watched Jeremy Maupin coach there, and then Coach Hennington, who coached at Berlin, came over. And, Coach Maupin lost the state championship. Coach Hennington beat Artesia with Jeremy Maupin there. So I think the quarterback position, it's a culturally – Nick Gerlin was a heck of a quarterback. Paul Sermons, I just talked to Coach Sermons last night. Man, he said that the difference between you and his son, you're going to run around someone where his son would run over somebody. So yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. You got to live to fight another day, man. His son had those strong legs and strong hips and broke a lot of tackles. So when my son is asking you about the read option, and then you have the play callers with Coach Maupin and now Coach Hennington, that Los Lunas offense, think about where the culture of football is in Los Lunas. It's really good. I've enjoyed it. My son did the West Mesa game last year, and, there's renovations being done to the stadium as we speak. It's a great place to watch a game. But, you and I talked about this, and I talked to Coach Sermons and Coach Hennington. Strong schedule right out of the gate. You got to go to Roswell to play the defending 5A state champions. Coach Jeff Lynn, we said this before we got on, is one of the best high school football coaches in state history. So you got them. Then you have to match up with Cleveland, a team that beat you twice last year. How important, and the Journal, lists you guys, coming out of, they have talked about you guys pretty good. How important is it for you guys to come out strong this season against two challenging opponents right out of the gate?
Oh, it's very important. Just really the first game just sets the tone of the season. And second game, it'll be tough, but it'll be a dogfight. So
I think one of the things my son talked about, physicality on your lines.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge because Cleveland is very physical. Roswell is very physical. So somewhere Coach Holland, he's smiling ear to ear somewhere. He's retired now, but he's the one to put that schedule together.
Yeah.
And Coach Holland, the former New Mexico Highlands Hall of Famer, as a wide receiver. Wilson was a heck of an athlete himself. Let's recap last season. Los Lunas finished 8-3 on the season, second place finisher in districts 2-6A. Only losses were the 6A state champion Cleveland Storm and lost to state runner-up La Cueva. Coach Hennington set out a goal for you guys last season to prove you guys can compete with some of the best teams in 6A. The La Cueva 61-31. It really doesn't tell the whole story. You guys scored first. Game was very close, back and forth for the first 2.5 quarters. You guys scored first and led twice in the first half. Third quarter, you cut it to a 2-score game. La Cueva opened up in the fourth. And, they had Cam Dyer, Montano, the running back, Bowie, I think, big Mason Posa, who looked like a darn man already, right? You guys played Cleveland twice last year. Do you feel like you guys proved you were one of the best teams in 6A, or is there still work to be done?
I mean, there's always work to be done, but I think we did, especially in that La Cueva game. I mean, even from the pregame practice that Thursday night before, the energy was there. Everyone was locked in, and then in the locker room, especially, everyone looked hungry and ready to fight, for sure.
Nick?
Yeah, Kaiden, let's talk a little bit about those Cleveland games. You guys played them second game of the season last year. I think the score was 55-7, and then they got you guys in the quarterfinal 57-7. You guys got, like we said, 22 seniors coming back. You guys learned a lot of lessons from those games. And again, it seems like on the offensive line and your defensive line, you guys have some big, strong physical guys that can match up with Cleveland's front five and their defensive alignment. What did you learn from those games against Cleveland last season, and what is key for you guys to be competitive against Cleveland when you guys play them second game of the season on August 30th?
What I learned is that we just need to just come strong out of the gate. Like, we just need to make sure we're locked and have that same hunger we did that La Cueva game, and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, man, and there's got to be some advantage to playing at home, right? I mean, you guys played them on the road last year at Cleveland. I think twice, right? Didn't you get them twice at their place up in Rio Rancho?
Yes,
and I guess we can kind of dovetail into this a little bit. But like my dad said, we got to do the Los Lunas West Mesa game for you guys last year at Tiger Stadium, and it's quite an atmosphere, man. You guys packed that stadium. What's it like getting to play at home at Los Lunas?
Oh, it's electric. I mean, the community definitely comes out and shows some love for us, and it's amazing, especially running out of that Tiger Head and just hearing everybody. It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, when you guys get Cleveland this year, they'll get a little taste of that. You'll get fired up in front of the home crowd, and got to use that to your advantage for sure.
Yes, sir.
Switching gears a little bit now to talking about some of the guys from last year. So, last year on defense, Gage Marquez led the team with 85 tackles. On offense, the receiver, Jaden Howard, led the team with 685 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns. There were 17 seniors on the team last year. What was your favorite memory with that senior group?
Honestly, favorite memory was just staying after practice, hanging out in the coach's office, just having fun, talking football, just talking about life, just having fun and just making those memories. And even the team dinners with the seniors, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I got to say, man, Gage Marquez, I do remember him. I can't remember what his numbers were in that West Mesa game, but he's somebody that certainly must have made you better in practice. I can imagine, right, with his size and ability to rush the quarterback and his speed too. Just talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, no, Gage, he had a motor for sure. I mean, even just in the locker room before practice, he had the energy, just like it was game day. He was hungry, competitive. He didn't like losing at all. So,
yeah. One of the things that Mike Powers said in his article, the Tigers bring an aggressive attitude, is that, maybe there's some question marks on the defensive end because you graduate a guy like Gage Marquez. You got some guys that are unproven. One guy that was featured in James Yodis's piece a couple days ago in the Albuquerque Journal was a guy named Isaiah Barella, who comes back as the starting safety. But who are some of the guys that you think could step up and make plays for the defense this season?
I mean, we got Brad Mallory Jr., linebacker. He's a stud. We have Andres Romero, linebacker as well. We have Isaiah Barella, the safety. I mean, pretty much everybody, honestly.
Yeah, man, no,
Everyone's
for
there.
sure. And I
And
think, that can be a good thing in of itself in that
Mhm.
these guys are under the radar. There's teams in
Oh yeah.
6A that don't know about them. And then, when the whistle blows, when the time comes, they're going to be ready. Dad, go
Oh,
ahead.
Part of your offense, Kaiden, you got some playmakers, man. Got some good running backs. You mentioned your offensive line and that culture. Again, I think when Coach Maupin left, he built a good culture there. But when Coach Hennington came in, I don't think there was a lot of drop off. Coach Hennington may run some things different than Coach Maupin, but the winning still came. You still won games. So the culture has been there for a long time. But some returning receivers from last year, Tegan Gallegos and Tayson Gaxiola. Gallegos had 217 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Tayson Gaxiola, 7 catches for 97 yards and 1 TD. And I know his dad, George Gaxiola, and he runs them on a AAU track team. So Tayson, I know, was putting in a lot of work. George Gaxiola back in the day was a Highland star in football and track like I could burn, man. So I know his son's got some speed too. And so you got some good receivers there. Talk about the work that you and Tanner and Tegan have put in the offseason to develop, that chemistry, pitch and catch, routes, the jugs machine, the whole thing. Talk about the work that you put in.
Yes, sir. I mean, just even after practice, we always stay in, at least get in 50 to 100 grabs. Just depending, we base it off of how many drops they have. So, I mean, if they have a lot of drops that day, we'll probably go to 100 or more. And then even on the weekends, like on Sundays when we don't have anything and we're bored, we just text each other like, hey, let's meet up at the field to get some routes in and just get some extra work and get better.
And then you're that lefty thrower, man. It's a little bit different with the lefty.
Yeah.
There's not that many lefty quarterbacks. There isn't. So they've got to, and they're already used to catching passes from you. And you're also a lefty pitcher. We'll get to that. But the culture, I mentioned that earlier. And I'll be honest with you, I did that championship game in 2021. I broadcasted with former Sandia head coach Jim Ottman, and going there, I'm thinking, man, it's a lot of things around this game because Coach Maupin had coached at Los Lunas. Now he's returning as the Artesia coach. Los Lunas took it to him that day. Brilliant fall day. Couldn't have asked for a better day weather-wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful day, probably about 58, 60 degrees, a beautiful day. But they won the championship 5A, and Los Lunas did in 2021. You were 7th or 8th grader then, I believe.
Yes, sir. 8th grade.
Taking that step up to 6A, Los Lunas has had a winning season and gotten into state playoffs. They have a reputation for being a tough physical program. You guys, and you know what? Everything starts with the run, right? Everything is set up with the run. Like my son said, a lot of RPOs. As a quarterback, you've got to be able to hide the ball, go the other way, misdirection. 3 guys over 700 rushing yards. You average 240 rushing yards per game. How would you describe the identity of this team coming into this season? Because again, it starts with the run, but there's the pass too. So how would you describe? You want to maul them up front, right? Got that big offensive line. Talk about the identity of the team.
Yes, sir. So we really just like to set the tone with the run game and just really test the waters and see how the defense is playing and how the corners are lining up with our wide receivers. And then after that, we will start implementing the passing game a lot more.
I got to ask you this. Is Coach Hennington giving you any full autonomy to change plays, make calls as you see fit at the line of scrimmage? Is he, or you get signals from the sideline, they call the play in. Has Coach Hennington giving you some autonomy to change plays if you need to?
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, I have full freedom to make any audibles that I need that I see fit with how the defense is lined up and how what coverage they're running. So yeah, I would say I have a lot of freedom there.
It's got to be like I said. You mentioned practice. You love what you do. It's got to be it's got to be a blast every day. You were also named All-State punter your sophomore season, 1,101 punting yards, 5 punts inside the 20. Last season, 759 and punting yards, and we know how important special teams is. I think you guys had a pretty good field goal kicker, if I remember.
Yes,
one
sir.
of them went to Eastern New Mexico, I believe. One of them went to. And matter of fact, I got to tell you a quick story. I'm the voice of Western, right? They had a 47. The kid from Los Lunas missed one at the gun, 47 yards wide right. I thought it was in. But how do you approach a response? And punting is very important. Special teams, field position, flip the field. How do you approach your responsibilities as a punter? And what's your mindset during high-pressure special teams situations?
I mean, my mindset is just to flip the field and give our defense more room to work, and just make sure I get my job done so our defense can get their job done.
Well, that's a big thing. Punting is, you don't remember this kid because you're too young, but Danny White, ask your mom ask your dad. Danny White back in the day for the Cowboys was a punter and starting quarterback. And that's not easy to do, man. You got a lot of responsibilities there. But I'm going to read one quote, then I'll turn it to my son. This is from Coach Greg Hennington. I've had the pleasure of coaching Kaiden as quarterback since his sophomore year. I'll never forget the first time we ran quarterback counter in a JV game, and he hit it right up the middle. He looked like he was shot out of a cannon. From that point, we knew we had a special quarterback. He began to split reps on varsity and grew every single week, thus becoming a 2-year starter. That seems like 10 years ago in comparison to his growth of what he is today. We are incredibly excited for him as a senior and the leader of our offense. We are truly blessed to have a quarterback with his talent, hard work, and dedication. That's great words from Coach Hennington, man. And you guys do run that up the middle. I've seen it. I've seen it with Berlin. I've seen it with Sirmans. Cade wasn't the runner those guys were, but that guy had a rocket arm. That guy had a rocket because he's a pitcher too for Los Lunas. Man, we may not have been the runner, but that guy could really spin the ball, man. Son, go ahead.
Okay, then we'll switch gears and talk about your baseball season last year. Los Lunas finished the year 19-11 under head coach Paul Sirmans. You guys got the 9 seed in the state tournament, played Volcano Vista in the opening round, defeated them in 2 games. And then you guys do the unthinkable and beat La Cueva 9-6, a team that you guys lost to 2 times earlier in the season, but that you were competitive in. I actually did one of those games at La Cueva, not the one in the APS Metro, but the other one. And then you guys get to the semifinal and lose 12-7 to El Dorado. But just recapping it, man, how did you feel about how your junior baseball season turned out?
Oh, I feel like it turned out incredible. I mean, I couldn't have had it any better way than that. So, yeah, I mean, it was just an amazing season. It was fun, a lot of fun.
For sure, man. And you were named an all-district pitcher, first-team all-district pitcher your sophomore year, also all-district last year as well. One of your best games last season was against Volcano Vista in the opening round of the state tournament. You pitched 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, no runs allowed, and only 1 hit given up. Talk to us about what you like to do on the mound. What are some of the pitches you like to throw, and how do you think you've grown as a pitcher?
Yes, sir. I mean, like any other pitcher, I like to strike people out, but I mean, just get the job done. Just get the ball in play for my defense to work, because I had a trustworthy defense, so I could really count on them. And I mean, some of the pitches that I really like to throw, I mean, my 3 main are just my fastball, 2-seam fastball, and my curve or my slider.
Yeah. And I think I saw on your X account that you're hitting somewhere around 85 miles per hour on your fastball around this time around summer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Right on, man. I got to ask you, while we're talking about baseball, I got to ask you about that La Cueva game in the quarterfinal. So we talked about it. You guys played La Cueva twice last season, once in the APS Metro tournament. It was an 8-4 loss, a 9-4 loss at La Cueva on April 15th. That was kind of like that football game that you guys had against them earlier in the year. I remember because I was like, man, what's going on? You guys were up, I think, 2-1 through 4.5 innings, and then La Cueva had a big bottom of the 5th and kind of opened it up. But I remember J.J. Utash was on the mound, pitched 3 innings, only gave up 2 hits and 1 run scored. But let's fast forward now to that state tournament quarterfinal game. You guys are down 6-0 at the end of the first inning.
Yes, sir.
And then you guys scored 4 runs in the top of the 7th after you were down 6-5, and you guys defeat La Cueva 9-6. James Yotis of the Albuquerque Journal called that game one of the biggest upsets in any sport for the entire school year. just talk about how you guys were able to rally after being down 6 runs early to come out with the upset and the win.
Yeah, I mean, from the start when they got ahead, we knew that we didn't want this to be our last game, especially for our seniors, because I mean the hard work and dedication they put towards baseball season during the off season leading up to it. It was incredible to see how everyone worked, and it was just it was a really important game to us.
Yeah. Was it kind of one of those, man, where you guys were just kind of tired of losing to these guys? You know, you lost to them in football after a close game, lost to them twice in baseball. And, you know, you guys were up in the baseball game. You guys were up in one of the baseball games, in the one on April 15th. You're up 2-1 through 4.5 innings. And then in football, you know, you guys were up in the first quarter. It was, I think, 20-16 at halftime. Was kind of the message in the dugout like, man, we're just not going to lose to these guys. And you guys just found a way to win.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, we all got together and talked, and we were like, we don't want this to be our last game with our seniors. Like, let's do it for them. And we just all flipped that switch, and we got the job done.
For sure. Dad, go ahead.
You know, I got to ask you about that game too, Kaiden, because I was there too. I was covering some other game on another field, but I saw Coach, and I heard the reaction. I was on field 2, and it was I can't remember what field you're on, but I heard the fan. You know, we saw the fan. I heard the fan reaction. And so I found out that, you guys came back and, an error from LaCueva the ball went all the way to the fence. Now,
Yes,
I saw Coach Sierman's, man, and I told him, I said, it's the breaks of the game, baby. That's the way it rolls, right?
Yeah.
Now, LaCueva very well could have been the best team in the state. They really, they had pitching, hitting, everything, right? They did. Now,
Yes,
all due respect to Sandia, they're the champs. They won it. They earned it. But that game that you beat them, I remember thinking, man, and I told the same thing to Gerard Pineda when I saw him. I saw him, this summer, and I said, sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, but you got to give Los Lunas the credit because you beat them. You know, it's like slaying the dragon. They're the defending champs, right? They've got the reputation, hitters, pitchers, culture. They've got it years going back, right? But much props to Los Lunas that day, man. And the fans that day, just hearing the reaction, that was something else. It really was. You also played baseball for the Albuquerque ABA this summer.
Yes, sir.
And my son, I got to cover Connie Mack like 4 years ago, and for a ProView. And I'll tell you, that's one of the best events I ever worked. For ProView, because the baseball is incredible. You know, the Midland, that team, the Oilers, they fly in, man. They fly they got a plane. They've got pitchers that hit 94, 90, still hit this. They've got middle relievers, long relievers. They've got it all. But I've got to ask you, you had a game this summer back in June on the mound in late June. 5 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, only 2 earned runs. How did you feel about your summer with Albuquerque baseball, and how do you feel it turned out, and how do you think it helped you improve as a baseball player, playing in that kind of Ricketts Field, man, playing in that kind of atmosphere? How did it make you play better, do you think?
I mean, just the atmosphere being there, playing on such a beautiful field, a lot of fans. It was a lot of fun, and I think playing ABA this year, it really helped me just really get my fastball velo up and just staying consistent, throwing strikes, and even hitting the ball, because that's always been a struggle of mine. But I mean, just always just practicing, going to ABA, it really helped a lot.
You talk a little bit about the other teams there, the competition, because it's incredible. And I don't, like I said, I was lucky to, I was in charge of pregame show and after the game interviews on the field. And one time I went on the field, these guys were doing all kinds of gyrations behind me. I almost started laughing, man. But it's such a great event. But talk about the competition that you faced there.
Oh yeah, I mean, competition was like no other. I mean, going from high school baseball here to playing teams from out of state and all that, like it was incredible to see how good of athletes there are out there, for sure.
Yeah, and they like you said, playing iron sharpens iron, man, right? Only going to make you better. And then, like I said, playing at Ricketts, oh man, what an atmosphere that was. I really enjoyed working that. Now I got one more quote. I'm gonna read to you, then I'll turn it back over to my son. Kaiden is the kind of player every coach hopes to have. He's a competitor, a leader, and someone who shows up ready to work every single day. As a southpaw on the mound, he's electric. His velocity and movement make him tough to hit, and he's mentally strong in He's mentally strong in high-pressure situations. When he's not pitching, he's just as valuable in the outfield. When he's not pitching, he's just as valuable in center field. His speed and arm strength let him cover a ton of ground and make big plays look routine. Offensively, Kaiden brings a rare combination of speed and power. He can beat you with the bunt or take one deep. But beyond the stats, it's his attitude and work ethic that set him apart. He constantly is looking to improve, pushes his teammates to do the same. He's a huge part of our success and someone I trust in any situation. That's Coach Paul Sermons. And, man, I had a great conversation with him last night. I really did. I like Coach Sermons a lot. I really do. It's a good dude, you know.
Yes,
and he took a position as assistant principal over there. Good for him. He's going to have to step away from coaching. That's bad for you, but good for him. He deserves it, you know. And but you miss a guy. It's harder, you know. Somebody else will step up and be the coach. It's not going to go away. But a guy like that, he's missed, man. Right? He's missed, and someone else is going to have to take the baton. Son, go ahead and finish it up.
We are speaking with first-team All-District quarterback and first-team All-District pitcher from Los Lunas High School, Kaiden Reese. Kaiden, really appreciate you joining us. Before we let you go, wanted to ask you a little bit about Kaiden Reese off the field. You hold a 3.8 grade point average. You're a member of the National Honor Society at Los Lunas High School. What's your favorite subject in school, man?
Honestly, I would say math.
Math, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. Junior year, you just wrapped that up. You're about to start your senior year. Is that Algebra 2?
Last year I did Algebra 2. Now for senior year, I'm doing financial literacy.
Okay, right on, man, right on. And then any subjects that you're looking to study when you take the next step into college?
Yes, sir. I'm looking to major in business entrepreneurship.
Awesome, man. Very cool.
Yes,
one of the things you told me yesterday that you're part of the student mentorship program in Los Lunas. So one of the things you do after school is you go to the elementary school that you attended and you help with some special needs kids. Talk about how important that is to you, man.
Oh, I mean, it's really important to me. I just love giving back to the community and just being there for them, just giving the kids another person to talk to, and just having them out in class. It's always good to have. I mean, they have an incredible teacher. She was my elementary teacher, but just even to have that extra person for help and to talk to is just. I think it's really good for them.
Yeah, for sure, man. Last couple questions for you, Kaiden.
Yes,
your favorite college football or pro football team and pro baseball team?
So I have my favorite college football team. I would say Clemson. It's been my favorite since I was a little kid.
Okay.
And then I'm a diehard Cowboys fan for sure.
Oh, Dad, I'll let you comment on that since that's that's after your heart.
I am too, kid. It's just been a while, man. You know, I'm old and I saw them win 5, but they haven't done anything in almost 30 years. So I keep hoping you're going to see a lot more football then played, you know, by them than I will in the future. But let's just hope they have a better year this year. And
Yes, sir.
you know, I'm always hoping, man. And my son, he's seen me through some when he was little. He said that when Dallas lost, I wouldn't talk for like 2 hours, and it's probably true. Now,
always surrounded by Cowboy fans, Ed.
Yeah, there's our producer Ryan Tamora, who's a big Giants fan. But yeah, go ahead, son, finish up.
Yeah, last question for you, Kaiden. You got 2 big seasons. It's your senior year, man. It's one of the most exciting times of your high school career. You got one more season in football, one more season in baseball. What goals have you set for yourself this season?
This season. For football, I hope to get all-state quarterback, all Metro, and all district, and ultimately the goal is to get the blue. But I mean, just hard work, dedication comes before that. So we just have to keep that going.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Well,
Yes,
our
sir.
guest tonight on Huddle Up was Los Lunas quarterback and pitcher Kaiden Reese. Kaiden, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Dad, you want to stick around real quick? We'll break down some high school football.
Yes, sir.
All right. So as we mentioned, the New Mexico high school sports season kicks off this week. We mentioned C team and JV football games begin in the earlier part of the week. We got to see what the score was, Dad, on that Cleveland La Cueva JV game. I know that one kicked off here today. But let's switch gears and talk a little volleyball. There's only a couple volleyball games that kick off this week. I'll be at Volcano Vista tomorrow. It's Volcano Vista taking on El Dorado. Volcano Vista was an 11 seed in the Class 5A state tournament last year. Other high school volleyball games this week, Albuquerque High, who was a top 8 seed in Class 5A, they'll go on the road to Del Norte on Thursday. And then in Class 4A, Valley and Highland will match up on Thursday at Highland. Valley was a 9 seed in the Class 4A state volleyball tournament last year. But you got a couple football games this week, Dad, on Thursday and Friday. Talk about those.
I've got Manzano and Highland on Thursday, and then Aztec and Rio Grande on Friday. So don't know much about Highland and Manzano. Highland, of course, lost to Miri Mumba. Manzano, I haven't called Coach Stephen Johnston yet, but I will. So Highland's kind of rebuilding. I saw Coach Lovato on the news the other night, and he was talking about playing, using a lot of formations. They don't have the battering ram. Mumba's, you know what, son? He had more yards than any Highland running back in history, and you know what kind of history Highland had as far as running backs. So he's on his way to Eastern New Mexico. He's going to play there. So Highland's, we'll see what they've got because he moved the chains for them a lot last year. And Manzano started out well last year, and then all of a sudden they just hit they were like 4-1 and hit the skids, man. So, and again, I don't know much. Rio Grande has struggled. You and I both know that under Christopher Smalls. He's the head coach there, and I haven't had a chance to call him or talk to him, but I will before Friday's game. So the Ravens have struggled in football for several years. So hopefully they've got more kids out. I know that Coach was trying to Smalls was trying to do that, go down the hall and recruit kids. It's hard. They lost Nick. They lost a lot of kids to Atrisco Heritage when that school opened up years ago. Rio Grande back in the day was a decent football team, and when Atrisco Heritage opened up, they lost a lot of kids there. So hopefully that game will be competitive on Friday night, and but I'm looking forward to it. And then, like I said, I've got Western New Mexico next week against Adams State in the opener.
Other big metro area football games this week. Volcano Vista opens up on the road at La Cueva. Volcano Vista was a 4 seed last year, lost in the quarterfinals to Las Cruces. In Class 4A, Class 6A matchup, St. Pius, a team that a lot of people are excited about in Class 4A. Herschel Alloway Jr. was our first guest on Huddle Up. 17,000 rushing yards last year, 21 rushing touchdowns. They will take on West Mesa on Saturday at 11 a.m. at Community Stadium. We just spoke with Los Lunas all-district quarterback Kaiden Reese. The Tigers travel on the road to Roswell to take on the defending Class 5A state champion at the Wool Bowl at 7 p.m. on Friday. And then the defending 6A state champion Cleveland will travel to Las Cruces to take on Centennial, the only team that beat the Storm last year. Although, Dad, man, we had Jacob Maldonado on Huddle Up last week. I think Cleveland's certainly the team to beat in Class 6A.
Las Cruces looks pretty tough as well. They've got a quarterback, Gunnar Guardiola, I think his name is. We got to get him on. He's a dual threat. Las Cruces looks pretty tough. The Storm's going to want revenge on the Field of Dreams there. That's the game of the week right there. And so that's But we talked about Cleveland and their physicality on the line of scrimmage. Our offensive line, their defensive line, they're dominant. So they're a tough team to beat. They really are. So that's going to be a really good game. But back to Los Lunas, I want you to think about that, Nick. You've got to go to the defending 4A champ, Roswell, and Coach Lynn. We already mentioned the culture he has down there. Then you get to come home and play Cleveland, the defending 5A champ, and that's a really tough schedule. That really is. And so we'll see what Los Lunas is made of right out of the gate. Those are two tests, and Coach Hennington has to be, again, one game at a time. We can't prepare for Cleveland. Roswell on the road at the Wool Bowl. Again, it's possible to beat them there. It is. It's just a very tough task.
Well, it certainly helps to have a guy like Kaiden Reese, and we'll break him down just real quick. I thought real stand-up kid, man, real humble, but his numbers are really impressive. I mean, when we had him in that West Mesa game last year with Los Lunas, man, I think he ripped off a pretty long touchdown run, and he really is a true dual-threat quarterback. He'll tuck it and run. In that opening game last year when Los Lunas played Roswell at home and the game was called for a rain delay, he posted this on his X account. He had like an 80-yard touchdown run. So the guy has the jets. And, I mean, you kind of compared him a little bit to Danny White. I mean, how many guys do you see in New Mexico high school football that are an all-district quarterback and a first-team all-state punter? I mean, you really got to work on the craft of punting to have those kinds of numbers.
Punting, like I said, it's very important. Our good friend Ned James always talks about how important special teams are. So all-district punter, all-district pitcher, all-district quarterback. And you saw how humble he is. He works, with special needs kids. He wants to give back. Very unassuming, not a big, huge ego, but a leader. You heard what Coach Searman said. You heard what Coach Hennington said. Both of them spoke very highly of him. And, Nick, when you're the quarterback of the team, man, you're the one in the huddle calling the plays, right? Everyone looks to you. Everyone is looking to you, man. And at Los Lunas, as I mentioned, Nick Gerlin, Sermons, Cade Benavides, now him. It's a tradition there that started. Nick Gerlin was one heck of a quarterback. I remember watching him. And then Cade Benavides, like I said, he played under Jeremy Maupin, and not the runner those guys were, but that guy had a cannon, man. He had a really good arm. So they've developed some good quarterbacks there, and Kaiden Reese is just one of the one of many. And again, you mentioned a dual threat and a pitcher. He's and then all state, all district as a punter too. So he's quite an athlete. And again, you mentioned the GPA, the other extracurricular activities he's involved with. He's just somebody that Coach Searmans and Coach Hennington both said we look to him as a leader, and they trust him. You heard what Coach Searman said in any situation.
Yeah, great kid. Really fortunate to have Kaiden Reese on as our third guest on Huddle Up. Real quick, how to watch high school football games this season in the metro area. If you want to watch an APS, Albuquerque Public School game, get a subscription to gamevision.io. So type in the web address gamevision.io into any browser. It's $19.95 for a single game pass, $49.95 for a season pass for 3 months, or $69.95 for an annual pass. Get on to ProView Network's website, proviewnetworks.com. Usually has a schedule out for all of the high school football and fall sports games that ProView Networks will cover. For non-APS schools like Los Lunas, Albuquerque Academy, Cleveland, Rio Rancho, those games will be streamed on the NFHS network. Go to the NFHSnetwork.com. Monthly pass is $13.99 per month. Annual pass $79.99 per year. Dad, anything else before we wrap this up?
No, Nick, I just want to say this as your father. Great job on the outline. You did a lot of research for that. So I enjoyed him. I really did. And I can't, hopefully I get to, watch him play this year. I'm gone at Western a lot, so sometimes I don't get to see a lot of high school football. So, but he's, I thought somebody you wanted to have on, and you did a lot of research. So great job tonight. It was a lot of fun as it always is.
Our third guest on Huddle Up was Los Lunas all-district quarterback, all-district pitcher, and first-team all-state punter Kaiden Reese. For my co-host, the voice of Western New Mexico Athletics, Ed Nunez, producer Ryan Tamari, I'm Nick Nunez. Thank you for joining us on Huddle Up.